Yes, the silver short squeeze. Just some more bull to get you to buy more silver. How you doing, everybody? Empire Precious Metals. If you're new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a guy in a bucket talking about precious metals, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, get that bell notification clicked, and that way you get updated with any new content. And also make sure you hit that like button. There have been some videos posted recently within the stacking community. YouTubers and Instagrammers alike have been pumping fear, talking about the Silver Squeeze 2.0, the return of the Silver Squeeze, revenge of the Silver Short, whatever you want to call it. But they are pumping fear in order to push their agenda, whether it be to drive views and revenue. And I'm going to explain to you why this will not work. This is not going to work on a variety of reasons. First of all, this silver squeeze that we saw last time, about 3 months ago, it did absolutely nothing. Nothing happened. The very evening that the markets opened, I had 185 people on a live stream. As the markets opened, we all watched the prices do absolutely nothing. They were flat. There was absolutely no effect on the silver spot price based on all of this fear. Now, before I get into the reasons why it's not going to work, I want to make something very, very clear. I'm going to get a lot of people commenting on here saying, you don't believe in silver, the dollar is worthless, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. Let me explain something to you, okay? I would love to see the price of silver go up because I am a bullion dealer. I am always buying and selling precious metals. So I would love to see the prices go up, and that way I can make a tremendous profit. However, it is important, at least in my opinion, to be as forthright and honest with my viewers as possible. And that is why I am not pushing this fear of missing out bull crap. And that is what this silver short squeeze stuff is. Nothing but a bunch of garbage. And here is why. Now, before we get into why a silver short squeeze will not work, it's important for you to understand what a short squeeze is. It happens when a stock or other asset jumps sharply higher, forcing traders who had bet that its price would fall to buy it in order to forestall even greater losses. Their scramble to buy only adds to the upward pressure on the stock's price. So, getting that out of the way, here is why it won't work. Now, this article was published from Reuters on February 1st, 2021, and it says here that another silver short is unlikely. Basically, it talks about right here, silver prices skyrocketing to their highest since 2013 as retail investors egged on by messages on Reddit pile onto the market in an attempt to push prices up. Let's kind of just move forward here. Talks about, what the goal is and everything. And I'm going to post a link to this article down below. But so what happened with the original short squeeze? It began on a Thursday after posts on Wall Street Bets Reddit message board, same one used to spark the frenzied buying of GameStop shares, urged investors to buy physical silver. So what ended up happening was they put this post on, and it quickly spread across social media, encouraged the buying of iShares Silver Trust, an exchange-traded fund or an ETF, whose shares represent ounces of silver sitting in vaults. Their goal was to get the biggest short squeeze in the world, silver from $25 to thousands. Now, I had a live stream that actually was going on as soon as the markets opened at 6 p.m. on that Sunday evening. And what happened? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Talking about an ETF boom right here. Talking about ETFs. Let's scroll down here. Will the rally accelerate this time? Okay, most analysts say no, a short squeeze is unlikely. Unlike GameStop, there are no holders of massive silver short positions who can be forced to abandon them in big enough numbers to send prices through the roof. While many bullion trading banks have large short positions in U.S. silver futures, these tend to be balanced against long positions in the London over-the-counter OTC market. Most hedge funds and other money managers with positions in silver were already long, betting that the coronavirus pandemic and its aftermath would lift prices. It would also be hard for retail investors to create a lasting supply squeeze, analysts and traders say. Around 500 million ounces of silver trade each day in the London OTC market, the world's biggest, of which 2/3 are spot contracts, and around 1 billion ounces are produced and consumed each year with surplus supply for most of the last decade, consultants Metals Focus said. Right here, the market may force short-term issues, moving silver in the right forms to the right vaults, but draining liquidity enough to send prices to $100 or $1,000 will be difficult. It's like trying to drain the ocean, said a trader in London. So let's recall what happened with the Hunt brothers early in the 1980s. They ended up trying to also corner the silver market and ended up backfiring on them. We can also take a look at the global silver demand in 2019, especially as it relates to stackers. We are at 215 million ounces overall, which makes up about 1/5 of the overall consumption of all sectors. Here's another graph. Let's take a look at these numbers. And here's another graph looking at the world silver and supply demand for 2018 and 19. There you see the net physical silver community sitting at 165 million ounces compared to all the other sectors. Again, making up about 1/5 of the overall demand for the silver supply. Now, what about various countries and their silver reserves throughout the world? Now, in this graph, we see the silver reserves worldwide as of 2020 by country. This is in 1,000 metric tons. You see Peru is leading at 91,000 metric tons. You got Australia, Poland, Russia at 45, China at 41. You got the United States down at in the mid-20s. But there is a lot of silver out there. And you hear a lot of people saying that silver is going to become even more scarce. And we are pumping out so many ounces every year. You see a lot of these YouTube mining videos with the various stacking channels, myself included, talking about how there's going to be an increase in production. And that's why their stocks are looking good. There is not a shortage of silver by any means. You've got JP Morgan with a stockpile of 600 million ounces. And then according to Gainesville Coins, you have around 3 billion ounces of silver circulation around the world. Silver is out there. But now let's talk about a couple arguments that you hear time and time again throughout the stacking community with regard to the dollar being worthless and silver manipulation. Let's talk about the silver manipulation thing first. The whole thing with the silver manipulation is that people are saying that the value of silver, the actual price of silver is undervalued, that it is being kept down by the larger powers, whether it be central banks or commercial banks like a JP Morgan. They say that the price is manipulated, and that's why we haven't seen the silver prices taking off. If that is true, and there is this much silver manipulation, like you say, and like we did see with JP Morgan's case and spoofing about 6 months ago, do you actually really think that the larger hedge funds, private equity firms, and investment banks are going to allow for a run on silver to totally destroy their books? Do you think that a bunch of silver stackers are going to be able to even match the sheer capital that these institutions have behind them? Absolutely not. It is absolutely ridiculous. And now let's talk about the other argument that you see constantly throughout our stacking community, how the dollar is worthless. This is absolutely stupid. People within the community say that the dollar has no value. What do you get paid in? What does our economy run on? What does the rest of the world match their currencies against? The United States dollar. And furthermore, if the silver prices shoot up to, let's say, that $100 or even $1,000 per ounce, like many people within the stacking community are keeping their fingers crossed to happen, what is it that you are going to do when that happens? If it hits $100 an ounce, let's say even if it hits $1,000 an ounce, are you going to then go and sell your silver for the worthless dollars that you say we have? That makes no sense. You're saying that it's going to hit $1,000 an ounce. And what is it that you are going to do with your silver rounds and coins? Are you going to cash them in for some pieces of paper that's absolutely worthless? What is your ultimate end game? What is your plan? You're not making any sense. This is one of the stupidest arguments and pieces of garbage that I see throughout the stacking community time and time again. If you want to say that the dollar has less value, that's one thing. But by saying that the dollar is worthless, that makes absolutely no sense, okay? What is it that you're going to do once your silver actually shoots the moon like you're hoping that it does? So my point is basically this. Before you start watching these YouTube videos of people saying that we're going to do this giant silver squeeze and destroy the COMEX and make silver shoot the moon to $100, if not $1,000 an ounce, be careful. Make sure you do your research. Understand what is exactly happening and what these individuals are trying to tell you to do. And before you drop thousands of dollars on silver because of some of this crazy hype, make sure that you even have the money to spend if this is something you're looking to do. But like I said, do your research, listen to both sides of the argument, and be smart about it. And I would like to quickly thank these elite channel supporters. And if you haven't already become a channel member, please check out the awesome perks and join today. With that, this is Empire Precious Metals. Until next time, long live the Empire.